Welcome, everybody, to the first ever Dang Right, a Melissa football podcast with me, Coach Nally. I want to give a huge shout out to Mr. Kramen and his unbelievable students for helping us with this podcast, and just so excited and pumped to talk about Melissa football as we move through the spring into the summer, as we get into fall camp. But my first ever guest on this podcast is the man, the myth, and the legend, and that's Duke Sparks. Thank you, Duke Sparks, for being here today. I really, really appreciate it.
No, thank you for this. It's such an honor. I'm just blessed. Thank you.
All right, Duke. All right, I got a lot of questions for you. Duke, I want to hear the origin story of Duke. Give me the origin story, the Teo of Duke Sparks. So start from the beginning, Duke, and let's go.
Well, that's a long way ago, Bubba. In May 14th, to be 76 years. So I don't know where you want me to start. I was born in Beaumont, Texas, St. Therese Hospital. Back in those days, the poor mothers had to stay in the hospital, and the babies had to stay there 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And I think now they get them out in 2 days or something. But that's where it all began, and my mother and dad took me home to a garage apartment that they built behind my grandparents' duplex.
Wow.
And I grew up there, and I am the oldest of 10 children. And at that time, of course, it's me, then my brother Robert, and probably by the time we moved out of that garage apartment, there were 6 of us.
Wow.
And then by the time there were 7, I was moving off to college, and then 8, 9, and 10 came after that.
That's awesome. Where'd you go to school at?
I went to school, you talking about college or
high school?
High school. I started out at, I'll never forget I was at James Bowie Junior High School. I'll say that in a minute. I'll tell you why that I brought that up, in Beaumont, Texas. And that was my 7th grade year, and I'll never forget that. My dad had I wouldn't say a Matt Nally sense of humor, but he had a sense of humor, and so he shaved my head going into first day of 7th grade.
All right, heck yeah.
And it was the most embarrassing moment of my life.
As a bald man, though, Duke, I mean, chicks dig it. So I get where your dad's coming from.
Well, my wife told me 52 years ago if I ever went bald, she'd leave me. So that was bad. But anyway, went to Bowie Junior High School. In those days, it was 7th, 8th, and 9th. And then I went to Beaumont French, and I was at Beaumont French through February of my sophomore year, and then my mom and my siblings, we moved to Jasper, Texas, where all of my mother's family is. And then I graduated from Jasper High School in Jasper, Texas.
What year did you graduate high school?
Graduated in 1966.
Wow. And where'd you go to college?
Went to Sam Houston State University.
Dang right. That's awesome. That's awesome. Let me ask you this, Duke. Can you recall a specific moment or a person that set you on the path that you're on right now?
Absolutely. And if I can talk about that without getting emotional, I had great coaches, and I knew in 7th grade, whatever the age that is. I don't even know what age that is anymore, but in 7th grade, I knew there was no question in my mind that I was going to coach. And it was because of the influence of coaches that they had on my life. I had a rough life. It was a dysfunctional situation, and my dad was not always there, and coaches stepped in those days just like we do now, like you do with your staff and people, and people stepped into my life, and there was no question in my mind I was going to be coaching till the day I died. And I had coaches that took me under their wing. I mean, my driver's ed guy, he would let me drive last just so I could talk and tell him my problems and work through that. And then it was incredible. Coaches have been that influence on my life now going on 76 years.
You know, what's wild, though, Duke, is in the coaching profession, if you talk to a really good coach, most of them have an unbelievable story, but most of them come back to a coach impacted them in some way in their life, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. So, Duke, here's a question for you. What do you actually do here in Melissa?
My wife asks me that every night. Well, the funny part of that story, I retired 24 years ago in December of 2000 as the principal at Allen High School, and I just never quit working. And I've worked in administrative services there as a contractor. Then I was an elementary principal in Van Alstyne, and then I had the great opportunity to go with Todd Graham to Rice University as his director of football operations, which prepared me in a large part for some of the things that I do now. My job and my title here is director of athletic operations and community partnerships. And so I learned with Todd under his tutelage and his mentorship. He gave me his top 25 donors at Rice University, and some of the most wonderful people I've ever met in my life, and some of maybe the most wealthy people I've ever met in my life and will ever meet. And so when I took the job here as athletic operations and community partnerships, the community partnership piece was the number one piece because we needed to bring some things together, and that took place really 9 years ago now. And so we started pulling things, started working with the city, and the city of Melissa has been incredible. You look around you, you see what we have.
That's right.
We have so many people to be thankful for. Superintendent Keith Murphy, Robert Rich, Kim Bodecker, all the people that did the finance, Lance Rainey, all that. But I'm telling you, our partnership with the city of Melissa has made this. We operate on 80 acres at Melissa High School, and right across the creek east of us is the Z-Plex, and that's 100 acres. Doug Zato and people from the city and people like that, we started on June 16th, 2016, which would be almost 8 years ago. And we started planting the 180 acres, not the 80, not the 100. And so the city of Melissa, all the wonderful people that I get to work with here, and then getting to work with you guys in athletic operations, to be a part of building the things that where we're sitting right now, and all the things we've done, the AV broadcast program that Mr. Kramen and his crew and the things, those were dreams of mine. We started that program in Allen.
Wow.
Before in Allen, and it's just developed. We built the new Allen High School. I was very fortunate to be a part of that. And I always knew that if I ever had the opportunity that we were going to create that atmosphere. And all you've got to do is walk down the hall here, look at his AV broadcast booth, which is as good as any ESPN channel, ABC or whatever. And plus this facility we're sitting in. I get to be a part of that. I get to be a part of everything. And that's been tremendous, as well as the day in, day out stuff that I do, hopefully to help you guys out in operations for athletics.
Well, Duke, I'm with you. You know, the control room down there for the AV department that they use on Tuesdays and Friday nights in the spring here, and then on Friday nights in the fall. It kind of looks like the floor of the USS Enterprise. You know, you think Captain Kirk's going to walk in and whatnot. Incredible. It looks amazing. It really looks amazing.
Great
All right,
analogy.
There's a lot of people that don't know this, Duke, but you've made your return to coaching, and we've lost a couple of coaches going on to better their career in other situations. And just to tell the story real quick, I'm at practice on Monday, and you come up to me and you're like, hey, Coach Chapa needs some help, and I want to help. And you said it earlier, you're going to be 76 years old in May, and so. Just with that, Duke, how does it feel to be back out there with a whistle around your neck, getting after it again?
I'm telling you, I don't know, and I have to thank you. I don't even know why you listened to me when I did that. I think you thought I was just throwing that out, but then you thought about it. You talked about it. Then you come in there and sit down with me and Seth, and I have to give you and Seth credit. Seth didn't want me doing it. Probably still doesn't want me doing it. But he put some things out, as you heard, that I have to do to be sure and take care of myself. But I can tell you this, Coach Nally. I can tell you, whatever I thought, when I threw it out to you, I was just wanted to help Coach Chopper. Didn't want him to be down there with 20 guys.
Right.
And I knew that D-line was something that I could do. I don't want to say it's like riding a bicycle. It's not that. Because the great way we're doing defense, how we're handling the defense right now, really and truly takes me back my 30 years, and it takes me back to those basic fundamental things. And so I knew it could help him. But I'm telling you, I had no idea. I just thought I knew how great it was going to feel. And I'm telling you, it was so much further than my expectation. I'm having more fun than I ever could imagine. And I owe that to you and Coach Choppa and Coach Stenton and you guys embracing me and letting me do this.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, at the beginning of the whole thing, I was a little bit nervous just because of the fact, you hadn't coached in 30 years. And I really was curious about the interaction between you and kids, which you have an unbelievable interaction with kids all the time. But a lot of people don't know just how intense you can be. And people see you and they see the passion and whatnot, but they don't see the intensity that comes with Duke Sparks or what comes with Coach Sparks. And the appreciation from our side is out of control. I mean, you've done an unbelievable job. And, we were talking about the other day, I wish Duke would just coach, just help us coach in general. So you've been doing a great job. And just really, Duke, I can't thank you enough for that.
I can't thank you enough. And the intensity piece, I'll be honest with you, I surprised myself with that. And I know I'm shocking these kids. So
they need some of that, though, Duke. They need some of that. All right, let me ask you this, Duke. In spring ball, because, we're in spring practice. We just finished practice number 3. In spring ball, when you look around and you see all the coaching, who is that one coach that you're like, man, that guy's killing it? That guy right there is coaching. That guy right there is going to be an unbelievable coordinator one day or an unbelievable head coach one day. Who stands out to you?
I told you Monday. After I said what I did, and I was just giving you my Duke feedback. You guys have always been so wonderful to listen to me, whether you really wanted to or not. And I told you on Monday that I don't think that I have ever seen, since I've been here, maybe even before I came here, the attention to detail that your coaches are coaching and paying attention to the details. And right now, of course, I'm so involved just working in my groups and doing those things. Coach Choppa does an amazing job. Coach Pennington, all of those guys, and you gave me a partner. And I'm 20 years older than him, and you gave me a partner in Brady Pennington, and we're having the times of our lives.
Yeah.
But I really and truly, and I don't mean this because I'm evading your question or I don't want to answer.
No, yeah, I'm
question.
with you. Yeah, heck yeah.
I have never seen the attention to detail. But Monday, man, I'm going to say it, because Monday when I talked to you, I was just walking around. I went from group to group to group. I saw all the offense, defense. I went to groups. And that's what it just hit me walking into the championship center from the outside, from the outdoor field. And I was walking in to observe or just to walk around inside, and it just hit me walking in. The attention to detail is incredible. And you've worked very hard to do that. You've worked very hard to build that culture. Your coaches, the coaches that have come in over the last several years that have bought in, and they bought into that. And it's paying off. And I'm telling you, it will pay off by the end of the spring. And then, as Coach Choppa said today, the spring is just getting us ready for August. And it's going to be exciting to see what the coaches and the players are, how we're taking that. It was a great recall just from the techniques and stuff that y'all did in off season.
Right.
And it's and I can't imagine what that's going to be like in August if they have that kind of recall.
Right. You know, Duke, it was a trick question, you know, when it came down to it, because they're all studs. They're all just unbelievable. But I'm going to answer that question. I'll tell you somebody that really is sticking out to me, and I love watching him coach, and that's Coach Whitfield. I just love watching him coach. I think he's doing an amazing job, and I want to go back and say this. You know, I mean, Ryan Hamilton has taken over the offensive coordinator position here, and he has made additions and some changes and some tweaks, and man, just what an amazing job he has done. Just so excited, but like I said, when I look at it, there's so many guys in there that are doing such a great job. But I think just through the first 3 practices, I've been really impressed with Coach Whitfield and what he's done. So, and I cannot not say, I mean, Brady Pennington. First off, he's the most flexible human being I've ever seen. I mean, I'm watching him in PE, and he's doing stretches with the kids, and I'm like, man, I can't even touch my toes now. And he's putting his palms on the ground and whatnot. So, I mean, he's amazing, but they're all just so amazing. Well, Duke, let me ask you this. Who is an athlete that you believe is going to have a great fall? He's been having a good off season. You've seen him in spring, and you're like, man, that kid is about to blow up. Who is that for you?
Man, just Monday going around, but now taking an off season and all that, I'm just, and now the other side of that is that coach in the D line. I used to call it TNT, and we call them
heck yeah.
ends, but I call it TNT. But coach in the D line, I tell them every day, they are not. In any point in time, all the way to week 16, will they play a better offensive line than what we got?
Absolutely.
I watched Owen get 385. I watched Jake get 370 something.
Yep.
And now I'm working against those. And so I'm very impressed with those guys and how far they come. And what's impressed me so much about that is they're so much more aggressive. Now that comes with confidence and size and all that. But our linebackers are really coming on. Our quarterbacks that have come in, I'm very impressed with Noah. I'm very impressed with Brett, and I'm very impressed with just the kids that have been here, but how quickly they have caught on. And like your RPOs and things like that. I'm having to defend that, really not where I'm coaching, but we're having to think about that. And how they're seeing that, is just really refreshing to me. But I just, from top to bottom, I see improvement, and I see the fall. The exciting thing I think about that is we really don't know who's going to be that guy that's going to be that guy
right
come fall, because there's so many of them, and they're working so hard, and they have such a great attitude, and so that's going to be TBD, to be determined as we go into it, but it's very exciting.
To me, just watching, and the first kid is going to be kind of an obvious, just because there's a lot of people already talking about him, and there's some schools interested in him and whatnot. And he's really changed his body. He's almost 220, but Jacob Nye is looking like the loss of Carson Maynard. That's 20 touchdowns. That's 40 touchdowns over the past 2 years. Is difficult to replace. But looking at Jacob Nye and some of the things that he's done just in the last 3 practices, I thought have been very impressive. And then on the defensive side of it, I'm really impressed with Colin Craig. I thought you see Donahoe is going to do Donahoe, and Donahoe has got so much better. But you see Craig, and to me, Craig's gotten faster. He has obviously gotten bigger. He looks like just a Greek god running out there right now. But I think Colin Craig and Jacob Nye are 2 kids that right now for me are going to be kids that are going to change the landscape in their positions for us.
The ones, yes, of the ones that are just now coming in, were backups, did whatever they did, and coming in, I couldn't agree with you more. And Jacob, just with his size and the way he's using his body, he can play H, he can play outside, and Colin really, but I'm going to tell you this, Coach. I'm just going to tell you, and it goes back to my background and my history and why I'm so excited about what we're doing defensively. Nothing wrong. We've had great success. But I'm going to tell you this, Colin Craig is going to just get bigger. the better. They're all going to get better because I'm going to tell you what, we're making a tremendous effort and a tremendous emphasis on those D linemen, those TNTs as I call them.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Staying on the line of scrimmage, squeezing inside, outside, doing their things, and keeping the offensive linemen off of those linebackers. You asked a while ago, how does it feel? I forgot what the juice was like going against the offensive linemen. I love those offensive linemen. I jumped Jake today because he made some kind of comment. He said something like, "Oh, that was just one move." I said, "Yeah, it was one move. He beat you on that one move. What's wrong with that?" So that's coming a little bit for me. But here's what I want to say. That's that exciting part of that. But watching these guys fight and battle and getting that you said it a while ago. Gosh, I know myself pretty well. I didn't really know how I was going to do, but this probably sounds like, and I don't mean this, I'm saying it as humbly as I can. But up to this point, I'm just telling you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity again, but everybody can think what they want, but there ain't been, I have not lost intensity.
Dang right.
My gosh, something just came out and was born in
dang right, dude.
Wasn't born. I was born with that, but the rebirth.
Yeah, heck yeah.
And I get a chance to do it. Now, I'm hoping the kids, I'm hoping they can learn to adjust to that intensity.
No, they've done. I mean, I'm telling you, Duke, it's been welcoming, and, me and you've talked before just about just being that old school coach, be that old school mentality. And you've brought that, and it's been awesome for the kiddos. I really, really believe that they're going to benefit from it. So, Duke, let me ask you this. We've been together for a long time, and my question for you is you've seen off-season before. What do you think's different from previous off seasons to this off season, and what do you see and you're like, man, this is really cool. I really like this the most about this off season. So, I mean, Duke, I don't know if you can answer that question, but what do you think?
Yeah, I'm just telling you flat on. You and I, you've always honored me by listening to me and talking to me, even when you didn't want me to come in there and tell you stuff. I understand that. Personally, I understand. But when you and I, when we started talking a year ago, or maybe, no, it was better than a year. No, it was a year ago, because we were going into PC for the summer.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And there was just something. Now, look, Gino Pierce in performance course grew up I was at Allen when he started. So there is nobody in the world and nobody's program that I believe in more than I do. Gino Pierce, John Clark, all the guys that have been here. But what I appreciated about you, because you don't see necessarily what you want to see. You try to see where the gaps are and those kind of things. And I'm telling you, it's nothing I hadn't told John Clark, nothing I hadn't told Gino, and nothing I hadn't told Travis Pickup.
Right.
But there was a disconnect. Now, the word disconnect is not a good word, because those guys have done a great job for, I don't know how long we've had them, 5 years?
Yeah, wow, yeah.
6 years,
yes,
whatever it is.
Yes, sir.
But here's the difference, is that you and Seth talked, and Seth knows more about that, and would pick up, and John, and said, all right, John, you and Pickup, now understand this. Travis, people out there, Travis Pickup. Now, I had his brothers when I was principal at Allen High School. But Travis Pickup grew under performance course.
Right.
Travis Pickup worked under performance course.
Right.
Travis Pickup spent time. But what it was is they knew what they were doing, but for some reason, because we just get busy, they weren't talking. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you, if you want to ask me what I think, the thing that has turned the corner for us is that started talking. Now, there was hurt feelings on both sides.
Right.
But there always is, until we communicate. And when they started talking and they started seeing, because they saw it the same way, they just weren't talking it. Mm-hmm. And when we look back a year ago about this time, or April or whenever it was, when we look back, we're going to be able to point to that. Now, I love the fundamental stuff. I love the stuff we do, because obviously I didn't get to do that kind of stuff 30 years ago.
Right.
But that, to me, is going to be the thing that I would put on the wall right now and say, you wait and see, and that's what we're going to be talking about, my opinion.
And I have to give a huge shout out to Travis Pickup.
Absolutely.
He does an amazing job for not just the football program, but he works for other programs at the school.
Program. Yes.
And the best thing that I can say that he is he's extremely passionate about weightlifting. And if you look at me and you, Duke, people will be like, we're not very passionate about weightlifting. But Travis looks the part, and he's extremely knowledgeable. And,
yes,
it's just so awesome to hear, when a kid PRs on things and whatnot. And I think that's just a testament to Travis and the program and whatnot that he does. All right. So we have coined it Cardinal Mania. Spring ball is Cardinal Mania. We did that because it coincides with WrestleMania. Okay. So, Duke, who is your favorite wrestler of all time?
I have to say, because I watched him in Stone Cold Steve, I love watching him in movies. I loved him in movies when he couldn't act, and because he was such a bad, but his acting has come a long way and all that kind of. I know you can talk about Rock, but I never saw Rock do that stuff.
Right,
I saw
right.
Stone Cold and Steve Austin, but those guys. If I had to say, if I had a favorite one, that would probably be my guy.
Duke, it's funny. When I was a kid, I wasn't really into wrestling. My wife was, or my girlfriend back in those days was, and she was a big Undertaker fan. So when I was in high school, I got to go to a Monday Night Raw. I got her a T-shirt, and I was really pumped about it because when you go to those things, it costs like $97 for a T-shirt, And she never wore it, Duke. Not one time. I was so upset. But Duke, let me ask you this: if in our team meetings, we've been talking about theme music, and different coaches have been walking in with different theme music. Duke, what would be your theme song?
Man, nobody. There's nobody anywhere around that even remembers my songs, the kind of songs I go. But it would, golly, a Rock'em Sock'em song. I was a soul guy.
Let's hear it, Duke. Let's hear this soul stuff.
Rock and roll, and not rock and roll like y'all define it today. I'm not anywhere into that kind of stuff, but. I loved all of those, the Supreme Wilson Pickett and those kind of guys, and Aretha Franklin. I guess RESPECT
dang
would
right,
be one
dude.
thing, especially now that I'm kind of rebirthing.
Yeah, dang right.
This coaching, whatever it is, for the next 15 workouts.
I love it. Well, Duke, let me ask you this: if your life was a movie, Duke, what's the title of that movie? And what actor plays you?
Wow.
I'll tell you mine. The title would be A Story of a Legend. And the actor would be Ryan Gosling.
That'd be a real good one. Really good one. That guy's really popular right now. I don't know how Barbie did that for him, but he is. Golly, it would have to be some kind of comeback story for me, Matt. Not so much of a comeback because of me falling off or having real problems. It's just growing through the things that I grew through and facing the things that I had to face and working through. I realized at one point in my life, other than playing football and hanging with my buddies, I didn't allow myself to have a lot of fun because I had a lot of responsibility, and so it'd be some kind of a comeback. My daughter, with what she's gone through right now, they don't even have a title for a book. They're just calling it Untitled Memoir. So something like that maybe didn't even have a title on it, but it was just a story of getting to where I am in today and having the kind of passion for life in fighting through the things. And of course, it would have to be something that had a great deal to do with my faith, because my faith is everything to me. And so it would have to be something like that, with the things that happened to us 9 years ago with our grandchildren, losing our grandchildren. And my daughter uses the word rise, but she spells it R-I-Z-E. That's my daughter, the one that lost her children. She calls it rise, R-I-Z-E. So it would have to be something about rising up and just taking that. And now that you've kind of let me find another piece of me for however long that lasts, it would just be, I think it would be a really good ending.
Yeah, heck
yeah. If it ended on May 10th for just getting to do what I'm doing right now, I would want people to see that passion and that intensity might have been dormant for, well, you know better than that. There's other things that I get fired up on, but I'd want it to be something like that. And playing me, oh my gosh, there's nobody that old. I mean, Robert De Niro and all those dudes, and Robert Duvall, I mean, those are the kind of guys. They're older than I am.
I think, maybe a Brad Pitt could play you,
Well, maybe if you started way back there early on.
Well, Duke, I want to express my sincere gratitude today. Duke, is there anything that you would like to add or any final thoughts you would like to share with our listeners before we conclude?
I'll go back to your spring theme. Say it exactly the way it is.
Cardinal Mania.
Cardinal Mania. Again, this has a lot to do with what I'm rediscovering about myself, or rebirthing, or whatever it is. But I think and you asked me a while ago, I think on my feet pretty good, but as I'm processing that, and you asked me what maybe was the change or whatever it is, but here's what I think. I think when we play with a mania mentality, do our job, do our technique, offense, defense, reads, do the things we're supposed to do, but then we do it. We just cut loose and we just go. And when we're chasing the ball or when we're getting downfield, we do it with that mentality that it's body slamming, it's picking them up, it's all those things that you say WrestleMania is, and it's what football is. And the great thing about football, doing it the way we're supposed to, doing it with our technique, doing it the way we need to do it, and then making them understand when they play us and they have to line up against us that they're going to remember. They're going to remember. They looked at Melissa Cardinals in the eye. And that's not going to be something that's going to go away. And when they become 76, they're going to remember that. That's how I feel about your Cardinal Mania.
Dang right, brother. I love it. I love it. Thank you for listening to the Dang Right podcast with Coach Nally, and have a great week. And once again, thank you for Duke Sparks for coming out and visiting with us today. And as always, it's a great day to be a Cardinal.
Be a Cardinal. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. It's been fun.